Fasten your chin strap and put your pads on. Get a grip on the bat, here comes a fastball. We ain't going one and done, we're here to last long. This the top of the standards, get ready to blast off. Alright, let's do this. Hut hut! Every Sunday afternoon, big sports fanatics coming out your speakers like a piston running with magic. Game time status good to go is automatic. Ready for the blowouts and the instant classics. Calling all the teachers, all the fathers and the mothers. Calling all the kids, all the sisters and the brothers. Dynamic high schoolers in the game like no other preseason. Game 7s, hey, y'all know we got it covered. From the finals to the Super Bowl to the World Series to the Stanley Cup final. Over here we spit it clearly. Andrew Hale and Jotham Israel coming with the hottest topics. Hey, you know what's up with sports. People wanting it, we got it. Yeah, get in the game. It's the top of the standards, man. Get in the game. It's the top of the standards. Yo, get in the game. It's the top of the standards, man. Get in the game. It's the top of the standards. Come on. Get in the game. It's the top of the standards, man. Get in the game. It's the top of the standards. Yo, get in the game. It's the top of the standards, man. Get in the game. It's the top of the standards. Come on.
Yeah, top of the standards. That's what it's about, baby. Let's go.
Yeah, season 2 is here, baby. Yes, Jotham Israel and Andrew Hale, we're back and better than ever. Yes, we got a ton of sports to talk about, as always. And yes, I can rap. I produced the song, I wrote the lyrics, and I rapped it. That is my voice. Yes, you guys better believe it. But before we get started,
you know, Drew, there's only 2 gestures I know that are so disrespectfully used throughout college football that were used last night. It was the Gator Chomp and it was the upside down U. Whoa! Oh, the disrespect in your home state was so egregious. And I'll start with LSU in Florida. Oh my goodness, Max freaking Johnson. Bro, this man really just pulled up to the swamp and shut down Florida's playoff hopes.
It's very, very disappointing because obviously Florida's going to the SEC championship game, and if they would have won last night, would have beaten Alabama in next week. They might have had a chance of, possibly sneaking into the college football playoff for the first time ever. That will not happen now. So LSU completely, absolutely, utterly, any word you want to use to describe this monstrosity. It was terrible. It was terrible. You can't let that happen.
There were so many bad things that happened for Florida. I wasn't used to seeing that from them. First of all, we forget that they got stopped at fourth and goal on the 1-yard line after pulling the kicker after LSU drew a 1-yard offsides. And then Florida was like, hey, we moved up 1 yard to the 1-yard line. Let's go for it. He gets stopped in the middle of the hole. That's one thing. Number 2, Kyle Trask got strip sacked at the end of the first half, giving LSU a free 3 points. And look at what that turned into. And then, of course, they got off the field. Their defense got it to 4th down. LSU was about to boot it back to him. Freaking Marco Wilson, who's going to have all the Florida students yelling polo outrageously, is going to probably regret that shoe toss for the rest of his life, dude. I cannot believe he threw that shoe.
It was real disappointing because I have watched a few Florida games this year, and at some points they looked unbeatable. Their offense were firing up and down the field, and last night they just looked so off key. It was a poor performance.
Yeah, dude, it was so sad to see. And then, of course, Kyle Trask got them in position after LSU freaking Cade York, bro. 57 yards in the fall. He just 0-2 Adam Vinatieri versus the Raiders, that mug, bro. I'm just sitting there like, bro, this man is clutch. Get him. Where was this at when we needed we needed him during the double doink? Okay, I'm off that. But bro, the fact that Florida got a chance after that was good stuff by Kyle Trask. He flashed that Heisman a little bit, even though, 3 turnovers in the first half that probably knocked him out significantly. But he got him in position, and McPherson, you can't blame McPherson. Even though he missed the kick, Florida should not have come down to that for Florida. This was an absolutely terrible loss. All the starters that opted out, including the top receiving targets for LSU. That's why I was so surprised it was the shootout that it was, 37-34. I'm thinking if LSU's going to win this game, it's going to have to be like a 17-14 type game.
Yeah.
But no, they outgunned Kyle Trask.
Yeah, you mentioned the weather conditions and the fog. I don't know how anyone made a kick, let alone a 57-yard field goal. That is insane. But as for Florida, I don't blame them either, because I couldn't make that kick, dude. I couldn't even see the goalposts. I don't know how either of them were able to get it like within a foot. It was crazy that the Florida missed field goal was tough. It was definitely tough, but like you said, they probably should have been in that situation in the first place. It was the defense. The defense for Florida was I mean, not even the defense. I didn't even expect them to kick the field goal at 57 yards. When I saw them lining up, I was like, if he misses this could be game. For Florida could easily come down the field and either kick or score a game-winning touchdown. Either one. But he nailed it. He kicked it into the lights, and it was perfect.
Yeah, man. Oh my goodness. He got the right to do the Gator Chomp. He got the right. And then as soon as Evan McPherson missed that field goal, I'm thinking, uh-oh, cue the surrender cobra for the Florida fans.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. And all I saw was Florida fans just, and I'm just like, this is what Drew talked about when it came to Michigan games. They oh my gosh, dude. I just saw all the salt, the tears, the indirect tears. Just they know their college football playoff hopes are done.
Surrender Cobra is definitely a sheer sign of defeat.
Yeah, dude. But speaking of defeats, I want to bring up a defeat that wasn't as close as we thought it would be. It's on the other side of Florida, if you want to call it that. Even though I'm not talking geographically, but in terms of rivalries. Dude, I expected North Carolina to beat Miami. I expected that. I fully expected that. Not in this fashion. Historic fashion. I'm talking 778 yards of total offense. What? 544 yards rushing combined by a duo? Oh my goodness.
I'm gonna be honest with you, I didn't see the score of the game till like the fourth quarter, and when I saw that score I was like, oh my gosh, how could this happen? How could this happen? How was it such a blowout? Please explain.
Dude, it was bad Miami had the lead for a bit. It was 3-0. And then after that, it was just all North Carolina just running down Miami's throat, literally. I'm watching the game. Dude, North Carolina averaged 10.1 yards per carry. That's a first down per run. Dude, that's all you need to know. That's all you need to know, dude. I looked at the box score last night, dude, and I was just like, are you serious? They're getting beat down. Miami had to pull out Kirk Herbstreit and Chris Fowler for this piece of garbage that they put up on defense, bro. What?
Yeah, I turned it on in maybe late in the fourth quarter, and the defense was very poor, as you mentioned. It was bad. It was bad. I have no words. I expected way more from Miami. I expected way more from Florida. Come on, my home state. It's the terrible week.
At least Florida State beat Duke.
Let's be honest. No one cares about either of those teams. Let's be honest.
554 total yards of rushing. Oh my goodness. But you remember what I said last week when Coastal Carolina beat BYU, and I said, now don't go fooling around and lose to Troy. You know that almost happened, right?
It did. It was very close. I mean, it was looking like a loss for Coastal Carolina. Troy punched in a touchdown with probably a minute left. But Coastal Carolina, as they've done all year, they came down the field in less than 30 seconds to go up by 6 once again. It was a very, very, and I mean very impressive drive. It was probably less than 30 seconds, as I mentioned. A few passes and they were already in the end zone. Like they got in the end zone in like a blink of an eye, and I guess that's why they are still undefeated. I still think they're a good team, no matter how close the game was.
Yeah, dude, that was an awesome finish. But I will say this: I need to be in that booth ASAP. The energy of those broadcasters was like a librarian trying to call a chess match, bro. What on earth type of energy? Why were you so dull during that moment? It was back and forth, bro. And Mikhail got a touchdown. What the, bro? I oughta. Yeah, I gotta find a way to. We gotta change that, bro. We got to change this. You should not. I don't care if it's ESPNU, ESPN Plus, ESPN World, if that even comes of existence. You should not have broadcasters with that low of an energy level when it matters the most.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, but I think a problem, to be fair for the boring announcers, to be fair to them, I do think it may be a little bit more tough to get excited because not many of them are actually at the game. So it seems to be a delay. That's what I noticed at the Michigan State Penn State game yesterday. Both announcers were at their homes, and probably the game was a bit delayed because Michigan State or Penn State would score a touchdown 2 seconds later, then they would get hyped. So it was kind of boring, but I don't know. You're right. I have noticed a lot of boring calls and play calling this year.
Yeah, it's sad to see. Hopefully next year they can get back in there for good, and we can stop with this monstrosity of I don't know what this is. But dude, finish of the day, in my opinion. So Western Michigan's had already had a classic finish against Toledo earlier this year. Well, they had another classic finish, although it didn't go their way. But this was for the MAC. I think they're in the Western Division championship game. Oh my goodness, what a game!
Not even what a game, what an ending. That's what I'll say. What an ending. That was, if you guys didn't see it, search the game up, Ball State, Western Michigan, because that was literally, I think, the craziest ending I've ever seen. When I watched the highlight of it because I got a notification on my phone, and when I watched that thing, I started laughing mid-play because it was insane. I've never seen. I mean, it kind of reminds me. I can't remember, but it was a very old highlight. I think maybe it was like. Yeah, when everyone, the band rushed the field and everyone was getting trucked by players, dude, that's how it felt. If you guys didn't see the play, it was Western Michigan. How many were they down?
They were down by 3. It was 30-27.
They were down by 3 with 6 seconds left and around like probably their 50. So, when teams are down, they like to, lateral the ball like 50 million times. Well, Western Michigan did that, and at a point after, I don't know, like the 10th lateral, Ball State thought they recovered the lateral and it was game over. So their entire sideline decided to rush the field before the referees even blew their whistle to notify the game was over. So there was Ball State's entire team on the field while the play was still going on, and eventually Western Michigan got into the end zone and technically scored a touchdown, but after further review deemed there was an illegal forward pass somewhere in the midst of all that chaos, and at the end of all that insanity, Ball State comes away with a 3-point win.
Oh my gosh, dude. That you can't even make that stuff up. I mean, the fact that Western Michigan scored the touchdown, period, that listed itself as one of the most, if not the most insane college football sequence that I have ever seen in my life, dude. Freaking rush the field. The players rush the field. And did you see all the players just stand there like,
and then turn around, yeah.
Yeah, that was so funny how they backtracked. That was too funny, dude. Oh my gosh, dude, that was too funny. But yeah, overall, insane college football Saturday, even though it wasn't supposed to be. There were literally 4 games, and I didn't even touch up on USC and UCLA either, man. And I didn't even talk about Houston and Memphis, although that wasn't as prolific as a game that mattered as much. Still, great finishes all around college football. And it seems like every week of football that seems like it's going to be boring, there's always something that's going to get you pumped up. And oh boy, did they come with it.
Yeah, it was very exciting. No matter the scale or the little importance, it was a great week, I will say.
Yeah, dude, but we got an even better week on the rise because this conference championship week. This is actually it, my friend. Next week, the college football playoff committee is going to select who are the 4 teams that are going to go to the college football playoff. And this all starts with this championship week that is coming up. And we got some pretty good matchups on tap. Although the Pac-12 championship shouldn't matter because USC probably shouldn't be in the college football playoff. But, I mean, hey, who knows? Maybe they'll bump USC up into the top 10 after all this madness.
It was interesting because I heard a point in the Michigan State Penn State game. They said if USC wins this, they would technically have the same record as Ohio State, which would kind of give them the same right to get into the playoff as much as it does Ohio State, which was a very, very compelling and interesting argument. But nonetheless, I'm ready to get into these games.
Yeah, let's start with that Pac-12 matchup. Now, I said Washington would be Oregon, but the game was never played, so Washington got the bid by default, if they're available, of course. So we'll just pick USC and Washington. Who wins this one?
This is the opposite of either of our predictions. I mean, I picked Oregon. You picked you picked Colorado, but I think I'm gonna go with USC because they haven't been this close to really getting a playoff, college football playoff bid, but they have had some good years, I suppose, with Sam Darnold, who is currently winless. Nonetheless, I think this team's good. I've seen a few of their games and highlights of their games. Washington, I can't say the same. I really don't know much about either of these teams. I know that USC is pretty good, and that's why I'm going to pick them because they're on the cusp of potentially getting a college football playoff bid.
I've seen both Washington and USC play, and I got to say USC is the better football team in my opinion, which is why I'm going to go pick USC to win their Pac-12 championship. And the thing about it is Washington has a tendency to fall behind and come back. USC has a tendency to play hard all game, and then if they need to, come back and just rip your heart out of your chest. They did it 3 times. Keaton Slovis is proven, and not even just Keaton Slovis. The entire USC team has proven that they can be absolutely clutch. That special teams play, that kick return that set them up inside the UCLA territory with less than a minute left to go. Oh my goodness, you don't see that very often. Usually dudes just, stretch their arms out and let the ball bounce in the end zone. No, USC, I just think USC, I'm not going to say they're unstoppable because they definitely have some flaws, but they're undefeated, and they just never seem to lose. They never seem to lose, and that's why I'm going to pick USC to win the Pac-12. Very, very compelling matchup, though.
Yeah.
Speaking of matchups, Western Michigan probably thought it should be them facing Buffalo, but no, it's Ball State. So we got Ball State and Buffalo.
I'm gonna pick Buffalo because I know their rushing game and running game is the best in the country from what I've heard and seen. So for that primary fact, I am going to pick Buffalo because I just how can you rush the field before the game is over, Ball State? That's not gonna be smart in this game. so Buffalo is gonna take this one, and there will be no need to rush the field.
Oh my goodness! Oh boy! Okay. I think this game is gonna be a little bit closer than you think. I don't think Buffalo is going to crack 400 yards rushing against this Ball State defense. Not saying that it's stout in any way, shape, or form, but it's not a defense that you can just bully around for 60 minutes. I'm still gonna go with Buffalo because Jared Patterson is still a beast. I know he'll do enough to get the Buffaloes in a position to win the game. But man, this is a very intriguing matchup that I did not see coming. I had no idea that the MAC would be so insane this year. I mean, the MAC has been so good this year.
And it's kind of weird. It really is.
Yeah, dude, I can't believe it, man. But I'm going to have to just throw a toss-up at you because I don't think we've seen either of these teams play this year for real like that. We've only heard from one of these teams. So in the Conference USA Championship, I'm looking at the standings, and I'm assuming that people are going to go with Marshall and UAB for the CUSA Championship game. Your toss-up, my friend.
Well, I'm going to pick Marshall because at a point they were ranked. So, with that being said, I think they will, come away with, their conference championship. I think, other than the loss against Rice, I think they are a pretty good team. I really do. I mean, they were unbeaten up until that point last week. So, I think they will perform well, and I think they'll take this one.
I think they'll perform better because that was abysmal. There's got to be a fire in that, core of that Thundering Herd team that is just like, we didn't score a single point against Rice of all teams. We got to come out, pop out, and win this conference championship against whoever we play. And I'm just like, yeah, I hope you guys do that because, it's the conference championship. Anything can happen in these games.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to the big boys. I want to talk about the Mountain West Championship game because this is actually a very interesting matchup. It's obviously Boise State is back as they always are, but San Jose State is on the rise.
Interesting. Quite interesting. I don't know. Boise State, other than their loss against BYU, I think they're a pretty talented team. I mean, usually they are, and they look good. So whoever plays Boise State, I think they're gonna have a tough time. That's why I'm gonna pick Boise State.
All right. I'm gonna disagree. We got our first conference championship disagreement. I'm gonna pick the Spartans because Michigan State passed on the torch of being the next undefeated Spartans, and these guys are on a Cinderella story for real that nobody really knows about. We all talk about Coastal Carolina, and we all talk about, the Iowa States, even though they're not undefeated. But San Jose State has silently gone through an undefeated season, huge turnaround for the program. And I'm just like, San Jose State, I'm used to seeing San Jose State 0-6 at this point. They're 6-0. And I'm just like, this Spartan team is not looking bad. And you know what? Slipper's still going to fit. I'm going to pick them over Boise State in what seems like a conference championship upset. But, hey, this is evenly matched.
Yeah, hey, you make a fair point. When teams are on that, Cinderella story, usually they come away up on top. So, who knows? I probably would expect a close game as well.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Speaking of close games, I hope this game is remotely close, man. Oh, I hate Ohio State so much. Northwestern and Ohio State.
Well, I think you probably know who I'm gonna pick, and it's gonna be Ohio State. Unfortunately, I don't see Northwestern really coming close because, not that Northwestern's a bad team, but let's be honest, Ohio State is above every other team in the Big Ten. Not even just above, on top. Literally, they're a skyscraper compared to a shack. Really, that's what they are. It's unfortunate because Northwestern could easily be 7-0. Instead, they're 6-1. So, with their only loss, coming to Michigan State. Unfortunately, as much as I dislike this too, I'm gonna pick Ohio State, and who knows, maybe it will be close. But when Ohio State comes out, firing, it's not usually close. But who knows?
Yeah, I hate Ohio State so much, man. I'm gonna have to pick these Buckeyes too, man. solely because of Justin Fields. Because Justin Fields is just a monster. Bring him in Chicago if you can. It's this dude is really good. Although he had a really bad game against Indiana, I think Indiana is better than Northwestern in my opinion. Even without Michael Penix Jr., that defense, that Indiana defense, I mean they were pretty good even though they gave up 42 points. Well, technically 35 because pick six happened, but that Indiana defense had Ohio State on lockdown for the majority of the second half, or at least when they were down 28 points.
Yeah.
Had them on lock.
Especially towards the end of the game, the very end of the game.
Oh, yeah. And I think Northwestern is going to have some film to study, but I don't know. I don't think they're going to get it done. I hope they do. Northwestern uses this as motivation. Pat Fitzgerald used this as motivation because I am unfortunately picking against you. I hope you prove me wrong. Go out there and beat the Buckeyes and knock them out the college football playoff for me, please. Please.
Yeah. You and a lot of other Michigan State fans, Penn State fans, Big Ten fans.
And they did this just to get them in the college football playoff,
yep,
man.
They did.
I hope they pick USC over these boys just to make them salty.
Imagine that. That'd be funny.
Oh my gosh. I'll troll. I'll be here trolling in the next 2 weeks so hard, bro.
I don't blame you.
All right. Speaking of spoilers, how about Oklahoma and Iowa State for a Big 12 championship?
Wait. Big 12 championship? You're wrong. Dr. Pepper Big 12 championship.
Okay. Dr. Pepper Big 12 championship. Myself.
Dude, I think it's funny how they have Dr. Pepper. I don't know why that just my fascination with the Cheez-It Bowl. That's kind of funny. Dude, Dr. Pepper's nasty, but this is not a nasty matchup. Honestly, it's not. I could see this being a very close game. Oklahoma's favored by 5.5 points, which is, I wouldn't say surprising, but Iowa State, for the most part, they've never ever seen a real glimpse of success ever. So this is their time to shine. And technically, according to Vegas and whoever does the betting and the predictions, I'm going to pick the upset here and go with Iowa State for the sheer fact that this is their time. I can't remember the last time, if ever, I've seen Iowa State in the Dr. Pepper Big 12 championship.
Oh my goodness. I love this so much because Iowa State has a realistic chance to get in the college football playoff. But I'm sorry, I don't think it's going to happen. I think Oklahoma has been firing on all cylinders ever since that loss to Iowa State. And I think Oklahoma's going to come out hungrier. I mean, I just see better coaching ever since, that loss happened. And Oklahoma looks dangerous. Silently, but they are looking dangerous. So I'm gonna pick the Sooners. I would hope that Iowa State would win because I want to see it. I want to see it. Iowa State in the college football playoff. I want to see it, but I don't think it's gonna happen. But I want to see it though.
That's fair. Yeah, I do too.
This game could have a chance to be a college football playoff slot game in the next decade or so. But how about Louisiana and Coastal Carolina?
Who at the start of the season would have thought that both of these teams would be ranked in the top 20? I didn't. I didn't know Coastal Carolina. Like I said, I only knew them because they are a great baseball team. But they have proven the entire country that they can play football as well. They're 11-0. Louisiana 9-1. What a matchup! What a matchup! Dude, I really like what I've seen from Coastal Carolina, and they look real good. Their offense looks real good. Again, their defense kind of struggles towards the end of the games, as we saw against BYU and yesterday against Troy. Both times, their defense kind of let down towards the end of the games, but for the most part, Coastal Carolina looks like a complete team, and they are going to play a complete game and finish the regular season 12-0.
I agree because Coastal, and not only that, the game, because in the Sun Belt you play your conference championship games at a home site. So I think the fact that it's in Conway, South Carolina, is going to make things even better for the Chanticleers. Oh my goodness!
Mullets versus Cajuns. Raging
Somebody
Cajuns.
get the t-shirts. Somebody get the
I'm calling
t-shirts
it.
on the way.
You'll see him. You'll see him at the stadium. Mullets versus Raging Cajuns.
Oh my goodness, that is hilarious. Yeah, this should be a very, very fascinating game. I mean, Coastal Carolina won the first meeting way back in early in the season when Louisiana was the one that was ranked and Coastal Carolina wasn't. Now both of these teams are ranked, and here we are, big boys just clashing for the Sun Belt title. I like it. I like it. This is what I like to see.
Oh yeah.
Group of 5 teams that are ranked going up against each other, seeing who should have that New Year's 6 bowl slot. That's going to be fun to watch.
Yeah, it really is. I wouldn't mind if either of these teams got a nice looking bowl game. Maybe a Cheez-It Bowl. Who knows?
Speaking of a nice looking bowl game, I want to talk about Tulsa and Cincinnati. Both of these teams, for the moment, are ranked. And Tulsa's had a really cool season with all these comebacks and insane plays that they have been coming up out of their hats. But Cincinnati is 8-0. They're undefeated, and they're looking for that college football playoff spot.
Dude, Cincinnati, they really turn it up towards the end of the games. No, I mean, both of these teams do. Like you just said, Tulsa likes to come back, but Cincinnati, they like to hold on. They like to play it close towards the end of games. UCF, they could have easily, and I mean, I thought they were going to do it. I thought they were going to beat Cincinnati. I was about to be so excited. But unfortunately, Cincinnati was able to hold on, and they were able to preserve that win. So, I just really like everything about this Cincinnati team. That's why I'm going to pick them here. As much as Tulsa has come back this year and has looked pretty good, I just think Cincinnati's the better team. They're undefeated. Sure, they've missed a few games due to the COVID problems, but I don't think that's going to stop them in beating Tulsa.
Yeah, I agree. Tulsa is really good, but I think Cincinnati is better. And Cincinnati definitely, teams with a chance to go to the college football playoff and conference championships have slithered badly in recent history. So I wouldn't be surprised if Tulsa came away and ran away with it. But I think Cincinnati, with that defense that they have, and Tulsa, I don't see them scoring 30 on this defense. So and Cincinnati's got a pretty good offense too. So I'm gonna go ahead and pick Cincinnati to win and potentially get a college football playoff spot.
Yeah, I agree.
Speaking of college football playoff, we mentioned earlier how Florida was basically knocked out of discussion, but they can also knock Alabama out of the discussion if they pull out the absolute biggest miracle of the year out of their hats, because after losing to LSU of all teams, you got to turn around the next week and go to Atlanta to play the Alabama Crimson Tide in the SEC Conference Championship game, bro. That's tough.
I'm going to be honest with you. You know how I like to pick my Florida teams, but this time I'm no chance. Alabama's going to take this one, and it will not be close. As much as I want it to be close, I just don't see it. No one has even gotten the closest of beating Alabama at all. Alabama's offense is probably the best that we've seen in a long time. As much as I hate to say it, as much as I dislike Alabama, their offense is insane. I mean, they look really, really good. That's why I'm going to pick Florida. Florida did not look great last night, and Alabama's continuing to show why they are number one.
Ole Miss dropped like 52 on that defense before, but that's Ole Miss. I mean, let's see what Florida can do. I'm not saying Ole Miss is better than Florida by any stretch, but I mean, some teams just have your number, and Alabama and Florida. I'm going with the Crimson Tide, but over/under for point differential is 20.
Yeah, this is close because that is a good question because it could easily be over, but it could also be under. 20 is a lot of points. For the fun of it, I just talked about how good Alabama's offense is. It's going to be over.
I'll go under. I think they're gonna. I think they're gonna get to a point where they blow them out so badly they're gonna hit cruise control, and then Florida's gonna go score some garbage time points or something like that.
That's fair.
Just for
Yeah.
their own liking. So yeah, Alabama's gonna maintain that number one spot. In my eyes, if Florida wins, that's gonna be absolute chaos in the college football playoff. Because Alabama certainly has to be out if they lose this game.
Yeah.
Surely.
Yeah.
All right, last game on the schedule. And this is a rematch of a game where we saw a lot of fans rush the field in South Bend, Indiana. Clemson and Notre Dame in the ACC championship game. We're not talking basketball here. We're talking football.
ACC championship game presented by Subway.
By Subway. My bad. What is up with these sponsors?
I like it. I think I love that. That's so funny. This is a good matchup. To be honest with you, I'm as I have said almost every single week, not a believer in Notre Dame. They've looked very good this year. They've looked very, very impressive. Ian Book, they were comparing his stats to Trevor Lawrence's, and they're quite similar. Other than the 3 losses by Ian Book, they both have very similar stats. I don't know. In that situation, if I'm picking a quarterback to be my leader of the franchise, it's going to be Trevor Lawrence, and I think he and the rest of this Clemson team are going to come away with the win against Notre Dame. Do you think they get in if they lose?
I don't think neither of these teams get in if they lose.
So hey, this is for all the marbles, as they like to say.
Yeah.
This is for all the footlongs.
Oh my god, dude! Why did I not see that coming? That was what they got to put sponsors at these conference championship games every single year because this is hilarious. This is absolutely hilarious.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm going Clemson, dude. I have faith in Notre Dame, but and Travis Etienne hasn't been as prolifically good as we're used to seeing him. So that might create pressure on Trevor Lawrence to get the ball down the field, which is something he can certainly do. But I don't know if Notre Dame can hang with Clemson again. It took double overtime to beat them in their crib. So
with a backup quarterback.
Yeah, I mean DJ Uiagalelei didn't do too bad either, but Trevor Lawrence, I mean, we're talking about a dude that can drop 70 on you real quick.
Yeah, and literally the face of the New York Jets coming up. So
yeah, whatever, dude.
Hey, I think Clemson's gonna take this one, and I don't know. I think it will be pretty close, but not as close as last time.
Yeah, definitely. I don't see overtime. I would love to see that, but oh my gosh. Yeah, this should definitely be an interesting matchup, my friend. Speaking of interesting matchups, we had a lot of them last week in the NFL. A lot of close games. I want to start with the one that was the one that probably everybody didn't care about, in Bears-Lions. You know what? That was a signal of tank. That was a signal of tank from the Chicago Bears. That was a signal that some people should be fired. That was a signal that you should give up on the season. 5-11, top 10 pick. Here we go. Let's draft somebody that can actually give us hope for the future, because this is not it. This is not it for the Bears.
How mad would you be if the Lions decided to lose out and get a higher pick than the Bears after beating you? That's like the ultimate disrespect. Like, that's just I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. Like that's just disrespectful. Beating you at your own place and then jumping you in the draft board. How disrespectful would that be? But nonetheless, that was a pretty interesting performance by both teams. I thought the Bears had it going into the fourth quarter. I thought it was game over. I mean, they were up by 10. But I will say the Lions, when they go down, Matthew Stafford has the most comeback wins in what, like, top 5 in NFL history. So he's known to come back. They I think it was like 2018, 2017, where they would come back almost every single game, and it was insane. I've never seen anything like it. Matthew Stafford and the comeback cats. I think it was a good game. Darrell Bevel, coached pretty. I mean, already better than Matt Patricia. So
That's a good sign.
yeah, who would have thought Daryl Bevel coaching better than Matt Patricia? I like it though. I suppose it was a nice win. Ugly game though, very ugly game for both sides. Just not your ideal perfect game, but hey, that's what it takes to get some wins.
Yeah, and obviously the Bears just proved themselves. I mean, no Kenny Galladay, a bunch of starters missing. DeAndre Swift didn't even play. Everybody was literally like you guys didn't have all of your stars. You guys didn't have all your stars, and you still found a way to drop 34 on that defense. Although Matthew Stafford didn't have to go far for that game-winning drive, thanks to some bad play calling. But I mean, hey, everybody stepped up. That was a complete team win for the Detroit Lions. I mean, offense stepped up, defense stepped up when they needed to, and they got a win. And it was very reminiscent of how the Bears won that Week 1 game.
It was, dude. I literally thought your guys were going to come down and do the exact same thing, other than drop a pass. But hey, it was exciting. Like I said, ugly though, very ugly.
Yeah, that was definitely an ugly, just ugly, just ill. From the camera angles to some of the plays on the field,
Exactly.
It was just eh. But speaking of ugly, how about the way the Browns beat the Titans? Don't get misled by the 40, 41, and 35 score. They spanked, and I do mean spanked the Titans, bro.
I thought the Browns were actually going to drop 50. That would have been insane. The Browns look good. They look really, really good, and they got a good matchup coming up. But it was fun to watch. If you like offense, you would have loved that game. Honestly, I'm an offensive guy, so I enjoyed watching the highlights of that. Fun game. Baker Mayfield is. It's funny. All Browns fans like to say that Baker Mayfield has a cycle where he plays extremely well, plays god-awful the next game, and then kind of plays a little bit better, maybe has like 4 completions the next game, and then comes around full circle and comes back to MVP form. So we may get bad Baker this week. Who knows? But nonetheless, that was a complete performance. I mean, like you said, the score was close, but those majority of those points, garbage time points for the Titans. It was a fun game, very fun game. Very, very nice win by the Cleveland Browns, who have an 88% chance to make the playoffs.
Nice. Finally, I get to see it in my lifetime. I finally get to see the Browns in the playoffs.
Love it.
But yeah, pretty exciting finishes throughout the league. Raiders bootleg Hail Mary. Jaguars and Vikings going to overtime, even though that wasn't the most highly billed game. Giants Seahawks, I don't know what was up with that upset. Broncos Chiefs was actually not a terrible game. Mm-hmm. And oh my gosh, the Washington football team beat the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Fantastic. That was I really, really like the football team's team. I really like the football team. That was a really, really impressive performance from the start to the end. All around, good game. Eric Ebron, I don't think you're that good. So, you're literally the definition of the word and the term and the phrase Butterfingers, because all you do, like Detroit fans have come up with a thing. They call him Megatron. He's like Dropatron, basically. Basically. Bro, he drops so many footballs in clutch situations, especially last week. He dropped a few first downs that could have potentially put the Steelers in a game-winning drive and propelled them for a win. Instead, it didn't happen, and he dropped them. So, congrats, Eric Ebron.
And the one time he caught the ball was when he was inbound and the clock. That was so ironic. I was like, oh my gosh.
It's funny. I mean, last year when he was with the Colts, every single game he would be like, "Oh, best, I'm trying to break their touchdown record." Okay.
Catch the ball to do that.
Okay, yeah, you got to catch the ball to do that. Exactly.
All right, dude. Let's make some Week 14 picks because this playoff race is starting to heat up, and I mean heat up. But we're gonna start with a game that doesn't matter, just for the heck of it. Texans Bears.
Oh, I know you hate watching these games. You hate watching. I mean, you hate the feeling of almost, I wouldn't say remorse, but the close chance that you could have had Deshaun Watson. Same with when the Bears go up against the Chiefs. Probably the same feeling there. Nonetheless, this could. I'm not a fan of this game really. It's kind of. I don't really like either team.
I like the Texans.
I'm not a fan. I mean, I just don't think they're good. I literally, this could go either way. It really could.
No, it couldn't.
Bro, both of these teams, in my opinion, are very, very similar, almost identical. They have, I mean, not to say that Deshaun Watson is bad, but their entire team is struggling. The Bears' entire team is struggling. Both of these teams are struggling. Sure, Deshaun Watson has turned it up in the past few weeks, which is why I'm going to pick them. But I think it's an ugly game.
Yeah, this is going to be. I think this is going to be flashbacks of when Patrick Mahomes flashed the fingers on us, telling us how many draft picks he had when the Bears passed on him and stuff like that. Dude, Deshaun Watson, I think he's going to come into Chicago and absolutely just bully us.
Oh, no.
I think we're going to get bullied because our defense is fraudulent. Our defense, the Bears' defense, they've proven the past 2 weeks that they're not as good as we thought they were. They showed very good signs early in the season when they let Detroit drop 23 on their heads in 3 quarters.
Should have won the game.
But dude, the Bears defense, it was overrated all along. It was overrated.
Sure was.
I mean, teams found ways to score on them. It
seems like you guys have also the defensive line has created a little bit less pressure. Like the other year, Khalil Mack was after every single game he would at least have a sack. Lately, it seems like no one is really pressuring the quarterback.
You can crack the code on people on defense too. You can say that they got exposed, and the Bears right now, the Raiders are winning that trade by a landslide because the Bears are not using him correctly. They're not putting the right pieces around him, and they're losing ball games because of it. And Deshaun Watson, he's been playing amazing. You're not going to beat Deshaun Watson if you're going to, because he's basically like Patrick Mahomes. He's basically like Pat Mahomes with a bad franchise. So, I mean, I see them moving down the field easily. The way Detroit was getting people wide open and on our zone coverage and third down situations, it was insane. If that's the case, then Deshaun Watson is going to pick us apart and drop 40.
40.
Yes. If that's the way the defense is going to play, if that's the way Chuck Pagano is going to call it, they're going to drop 40. All right, enough about Texans Bears. We know the Texans are going to win. I'll be salty if they don't. But another game. Cowboys Bengals.
Wow. Andy Dalton, playing against his former team for the first time. That's not a bad game. It is a very bad game. Very terrible game. Not a good game. I guess we just got to say which team is worse. And I think in this situation, it's probably the Bengals, in my opinion. I think they're worse than the Cowboys. Worse O-line, worse defense. I mean, at least the Cowboys, they have some weapons. I really have liked what I've seen from CD. I was really salty when I saw him drop to the Cowboys because I wanted to see him go to a team I actually enjoyed. Because watching him in college, CD Lamb was fantastic. So, with that being said, I will pick the Cowboys. As much as I dislike them, I just think the Bengals are worse.
Yeah, I'm going to have to pick the Bengals here.
Okay. Nice.
I just think the running game is going to get going against that Cowboys defense. I just have a feeling that the Cowboys are just done.
I could see that too. Is Mixon back for the Bengals?
I have no idea.
If he is, then you could be very, very correct with the running game because he's a good running back, very underrated. But I know he's been hurt for the past few weeks, so I'm not quite sure.
You know what? I'm going to switch it up and pick the Cowboys. I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm gonna pick the Cowboys. I hope I don't regret that. All right, I'm done talking about this ugly matchup. Let's get into some sexy matchups. How about the Chiefs and the Dolphins?
Oh,
Back to Miami. The Chiefs
who would
go.
have thought? Who would have thought this would be a good matchup? I didn't. As much as I picked the Broncos against the Saints, I kind of want to do the same thing against the Chiefs for the Dolphins. I'm this close to picking the Dolphins, but I'm not. I really am not because the Chiefs. I could see this being a blowout. I really could.
No.
I could see it. I could easily see it. As much as I hate to say it because I really have enjoyed what I've seen from the Dolphins, I could see this easily turning into a blowout. I really could.
I think that Dolphins defense is good enough to not let the Patrick Mahomes Chiefs score 40 on them.
Think they're gonna step up?
Of course they are. Of course they are. This is, I mean, they lack a true pass rusher, which is absolutely alarming facing Patrick Mahomes. But a Brian Flores led defense. I know Bill Belichick's assistants have not fared well as coaches, but Brian Flores seems to be an outlier down there in Miami. He's done an amazing job. And this is going to be the biggest test of the year for the Dolphins, without a doubt. But I think they'll step up to the plate. Offensively, I don't know about that. I don't know.
I feel the opposite. I could see their offense having a nice day. I do see them kind of throwing a few interceptions, though. I could easily see that. But I think it would be very interesting to see this Tua versus Patrick Mahomes potential rivalry.
I would love for that.
Yeah.
I would snack on that all day for CBS. But I'm gonna have to pick the Chiefs here still, man. I just think in this case, you just can't bet against Patrick Mahomes.
There you go. There you go. I was waiting for it.
I know you were looking at me like he's gonna say it. Attaboy, Jotham.
There you go.
Yeah, whatever.
You've learned.
You know what? I'm a bit salty about the Arizona Cardinals because they haven't won since Hail Murray.
Who would have thought?
Faced the New York Giants.
Dude, it's kind of funny because the Giants are on the rise, and the Cardinals are definitely dropping, and it's unfortunate because they looked like they had a playoff spot secured. Instead, all that hype kind of turned down because the Cardinals, they've lost 4 of their last 5 games, and the Giants have won 4 straight. That is insane. It really is, and I'm gonna pick the Giants. I am. I'm gonna pick the Giants. I think the Cardinals could easily take this one, and I think they most likely will. But I like to go bold, and I'm taking the Giants because they have a lot of momentum. Actually, they have Daniel Jones coming back. That might ruin all of their momentum. Who knows? Nonetheless, I'm not switching up today. We're gonna pick the Giants.
I don't believe it. I can't believe that this is actually a competitive game that will determine somebody that's going to the wild card. Because look, if the Giants win this game, they'll have the same record and they'll have the tiebreaker. Do you know that is a realistic chance that the NFC East teams could both get in the wild card?
I would hate
Do you know that's a possibility?
I would hate it. I would hate it so much. It's terrible. I just want to see the football team play a good football team. You know what I mean? Nonetheless, I'm gonna take the Giants here. I'm going bold. Go bold or go home, right? Yeah, I'm doing it. I'm doing it.
I'm going Arizona because I just feel like they're in a slump and they know it. And I think, and I said this last week, but the Rams are proving that they are not scrubs anymore. I just think that this offense they just got to get something going because they have been stagnant for so long, and the defense has been getting lit up. I'm not gonna lie to you. In the most key scenarios, both sides of the football has not been looking pretty for the past few weeks for the Cardinals, and I've had some bold picks with the Cardinals this year. I think I'll have a third one this time.
Would you consider this one bold, though? It could be. It could be. I say it's on the borderline. I say it's on the borderline because both teams are similar.
Yeah, it's really 50-50, but we'll see what the Giants defense can come up with. If they can lock up Russell Wilson. I mean, I don't think the Cardinals will sleep on the Giants like the Seahawks did.
It just makes no sense to me how the Giants were able to beat the Seahawks. Absolutely, I can't fathom it. I really don't know how they did it, and I don't know how they're going to win this one, but they will find a way.
You speaking of find a way, let's talk about this Vikings-Bucks game. This is not that bad of a game.
It definitely could be worse if the Vikings, continued to play how they did at the beginning of the season. I don't know. Actually, looking at the Buccaneers' record, it's 7-5, and it's not great. It really is. I think everyone thought they were going to perform a little bit better, and I still don't think they're a bad team. I still think they are very good. I think Chris Godwin's coming back, right? Or I'm pretty sure he is. I know I saw something about that, and I think that just adds another offensive weapon for Tom Brady, and I think they're going to take this one. If the Vikings somehow pull this off, I just won't know what the NFL is anymore.
I mean, it's not going to be that, terrible. I think the Vikings are a good football team. They're just very inconsistent, and they play bad against the bad teams and decent against the good teams. Very much like the Steelers do, but on a much more microscopic level. But I could easily see them winning this game against the Buccaneers. I could easily see it. And you know what? This is key because both of these teams are chasing the wild card. And the Vikings are 6-6. Buccaneers are 7-5. This is the same situation as the Cardinals-Giants game. Whoever wins this game gets the tiebreaker. And that's crucial. Vikings need this game, but I don't think they'll get it. Kirk Cousins has thrown 3 touchdowns in the last 3 games. Yikes. He might do it again this year, this time. But I don't see that amounting to a win. I think the Bucs will do just enough.
Yeah, I definitely I would agree. I would definitely probably agree.
Last time these two teams met, Broncos Panthers, completely different franchises on the outlook. The franchises were so different 4 years ago than they are right now, and it's insane to watch the downfall and the evolution.
Both of them are 4-8. That's crazy. I think the Broncos have a quarterback this week, so that's for starters. That's for starters. That's one thing. Another thing is, their defense still kind of hurt. They really haven't gotten the run game going all year. But the Denver Broncos, are 5-1 all time versus Carolina, including the playoffs. Today they're going to improve to 6-1. I'm going bold again.
Yeah, I wish I had my Bronco helmet right next to me, but I'm not going to get up and go get it because I'm picking the Broncos, bro. Actually, yeah, I'm picking the Broncos.
There you go.
I just think Denver's defense, the way they locked up Patrick Mahomes, I don't know how Teddy Bridgewater or P.J. Walker or whoever the heck is starting a quarterback for the Carolina Panthers is going to do it. I just don't. And then injuries, of course. And yeah, no, I think the Broncos will get one this time.
Yeah.
All right. Titans, Jaguars. The Jaguars actually put up a good fight against the Titans last time they met. But, Derrick Henry has a history of absolutely murdering the Jaguars on the ground.
The Jaguars, they've gotten so close. They've been so close in some of these games. They're 1-11 though, so they haven't been able to finally pull away and win some of these games, and I don't think they are today. The Titans, they're just too good. Even though they lost to the Browns, I still think they're a very, very good team. So with that being said, watch the Jaguars win this one. Watch them. I honestly could see it. I could see it, but I don't think it's going to happen.
You think it'd be more perplexing than the Jaguars beating the Colts?
No, I feel like it's almost the same. I feel like it's the same situation.
Interesting. Obviously a big divisional game.
Yeah.
Because, the Titans are they have the tiebreaker for now. They're trying to fend off the Colts. Colts definitely have the tougher schedule. But speaking of those Colts, I'm picking the Titans, by the way, of course. Speaking of the Colts, big game against the Raiders. This is a big game for both of these teams.
This is honestly a very nice matchup, if I do say so myself. I really like the Raiders. Sure, they've had some tough losses, but they had that impressive win impressive win against the Jets. Nothing should be impressive against the Jets. But nonetheless, they didn't get beat by the Jets, so that's good. I don't know. I think the Raiders will come away with this one. I think it will be close. I think it will be very close. Maybe up to a game-winning field goal by Rodrigo Blankenship for the Colts. I don't know. I'm gonna pick the Raiders though. I really do think like these teams are very, very similar in my eyes. I feel like they're both in very similar situations. Both have comeback player of the year basically. Both I'm probably no. Everyone knows who's gonna win that one. Alex Smith. But both of these quarterbacks, they've had really, really impressive years, and I'm going to take the Raiders because they have had 30-plus points in 4 of their last 5 games.
Interesting. I'm going to pick the Colts because the Colts, I don't think they're going to allow that to happen today. With DeForest Buckner and Justin Houston and all them boys, Darius Leonard, that defense is nasty. Silently, but they are nasty.
Yeah. And
even though they had a close call against Deshaun Watson, they were one less fumble away from losing that game, really. But yeah, that Colts defense can really step up when they need to. And the offense, it can be explosive at times, but they have to get it going. They have to call the right plays. And Phillip Rivers has got to be accurate against that Raiders defense. But I think the Colts will find a way to pull this one out.
That's fair. That's very fair.
Yeah, this is a playoff. This is a mini playoff game for both teams.
Yeah,
it really is. But speaking of playoffs, you kidding me? Playoffs? We talking about the New York Jets here. 0-12, wild card hopes. Psych, playing against the Seahawks. Jamal Adams.
Imagine the Seahawks loses. Imagine.
Frogs.
Bro, Jamal Adams, like you were just about to mention. He's probably going to be heated. I know he's going to be heated. But I really enjoy watching the Seahawks defense, though. As much as kind of as the struggles that they've had, I just enjoy because they are very hard-hitting. They're very hard-hitting and, tough defense. But I think this shouldn't be a question. I think we're both going to take the Seahawks here.
Yeah, I don't think I'll be picking the Jets again this year.
I'm not. I'm never picking the Lions. I'm never picking the Jets.
Yeah, speaking of the Lions, are you picking them against the Packers?
Nope. No chance. No chance. No, Kenny Galladay, nope. He's not playing. DeAndre Swift, he was questionable. I know he's playing. Matthew Stafford was also questionable. I know he's playing.
Yeah.
So, hey, the Packers are going to take this one.
I mean, you never know. The Packers do play some bad games sometimes.
Not today.
Okay.
Speaking
of bad games, how about Saints-Eagles? Jalen Hurts in the clutch. Let's go.
I called it the other week, did I not? I said every single team in the NFC East is going to have a backup quarterback until today, obviously, Daniel Jones. Thanks a lot, Daniel. Nonetheless, Jalen Hurts, I'm happy for him, and they're expecting him to start for the rest of the season, which is pretty cool. He hasn't really got too much to show what he can do, so today, I think he's going to do that, but it's kind of crazy because the Saints are 10-2. They do not feel like a 10-2 team. They don't whatsoever. They don't. They've definitely lucked out on some games. They were down 14 to the Lions. Nonetheless, I just don't think they're a great 10-2 team. I really don't. I feel like they are prone to upsets. That's why I'm going to take the Saints here. Unfortunately, I'm going to take the Saints. As much as I wanted to take the Eagles because I'm feeling bold today, it's not going to happen. The Saints are going to take this one. Did
you really feel like the Saints are overrated? Do you feel like they're overrated?
100%, yeah.
Really?
100%. I just, really, I don't know how you can go into the playoffs expecting Taysom Hill can carry you to a Super Bowl. I don't.
Well, I mean, Taysom Hill, hopefully Drew Brees can come back healthy.
But if he doesn't, because he's had a tough injury, I know they're being careful with him, but still, they've lucked out. They have really lucked out on some of these games. They're similar to the Bears, in my opinion. They've lucked out. They have lucked out.
Because I'm looking at the Saints, and I think they're a complete team. I think they're the most complete team in the NFC, in my opinion. Stout defense, offense can score when needed, especially. and they can blow you out.
So I'm just gonna say when they face a team, now potentially in like a Super Bowl situation, I could see them not performing well. I just don't think they're good. I really don't.
Save that argument for next week when they play the Chiefs, but I'm taking the Saints right now
Okay,
for the Eagles,
yeah,
against the Eagles.
that's fair.
I'm open for an upset because I want to see the race tighten.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, let's go back to the games that really don't matter much. Falcons Chargers. I think I'm going to take the Falcons here after that debacle that I saw from the Chargers against the Patriots. I don't know what that was. I looked like a real. At least I put some thought into it, but I just thought the wrong way.
I disagree. I'm going to take the Chargers here. I've always had hope in their team. As they got blown out to New England. Sure, that was a bad loss, but I still think Justin Herbert, as much as his defense has let him down week after week, this week it won't, and they will beat the Falcons because I think they can beat this Falcons team.
Yeah, they definitely can. I mean, we're not going to just sit here and act like, oh, the Los Angeles Chargers were back in the dumps. We got blown out 45-0 by the Patriots. No, stop. Justin Herbert is still your guy. Be calm and be patient too, because your team is not healthy.
Yep.
They'll definitely be better when they get healthy next year. But how about another game? Washington versus the 49ers. This is a good test for Washington to see if they're for real. Yeah.
I'm going to take the football team. I think they are a good football team. I really do. I really like what I've seen. Every single player's playing hard. Every single player's performing well. Today, they're going to do the same because I don't feel that same way to the 49ers who they're not really great. They're not terrible. They're just
They're just in the middle of in terms of their injury, they're backups.
Yeah.
They're a middle of the pack team because, dude, let's be honest. If they had all their starters, Drew, dude, this probably wouldn't be as close as a game. But, I mean, hey, who knows? If they were healthy, this might have been a good game, too, because look at the Seahawks. They were healthy.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I'm going to take the Washington football team here, too. It's going to be a race to the finish line in the NFC East. It's going to be a race to the finish line. This is so entertaining. Even though both of these teams have the same record, they're in completely different states in terms of the playoff race, and I can't wait to see what these two NFC East teams have in store for us because it looks like one of them is going to really make a good run.
Crazy.
Insane. All right, let's go under the lights. Prime time. Steelers, Bills.
I love this matchup, and that's why I'm going to take the Bills because I also enjoyed watching their game against the 49ers. That was such a fantastic matchup. I loved every second. I like the Bills. I think this is the first time, not the first time because we've said this all year. I think this is a very good chance to show how good the Bills are and how weak the Steelers 11-1 record is because if you've looked at who they've beaten and what those teams sure they beat the Ravens. The Ravens didn't have a running back. Sure, they've beat all these teams, but all of these teams have gone through something. This is a complete Bills team, and that's why they're going to beat the Steelers.
You see this shape?
Yeah.
That is a circle.
Okay.
And I'm going to go ahead and circle a W for the Buffalo Bills. I almost said the Steelers, but I mean, I'm not making this decision because they lost to the Washington football team. I think they'll come out and play better.
Oh yeah, I'm not either. I just think the Bills are better.
But the Bills are better.
Yeah.
I mean, the Bills, this is such a bad matchup for the Steelers defense, especially with the loss of Bud Dupree. Because Josh Allen is mobile. He is throwing darts like he's Mahomes all of a sudden. And, Josh Allen is really moving that offense down the field better in recent weeks. And ever since the Hail Murray, they haven't looked back and they haven't lost. They've had a fire under their belly, and they're just like, okay, we're going to pull away from the Miami Dolphins. Just shut down all that Miami taking the AFC East talk. We're still here. We are the Buffalo Bills. And, dude, If the Bills win this game, if they have the same record, they'll have the tiebreaker, and that would be bad for the Steelers, especially considering they have a bit of a harder schedule than the Bills.
Yeah, I would agree, and I know we didn't judge this game based off the Steelers' loss, but coming in and losing to not the greatest of the greatest teams in the NFL in the football team, and then having to turn around and face the Bills right after, that's a tough task.
Yeah, on 5 days rest, no less. 3 games in 12 days. Yeah, I don't know if they'll have the energy. I just don't know. I really don't, because they've had to play a lot of games in a very short time span.
Yeah,
I don't think that that's going to help them out any bit. And I can say the same thing for the Ravens against the Browns, because they just had to play this past Tuesday, and the Browns, well, rested after a good win, 1 week of rest, and then an extra day for Monday Night Football. Oh, baby, this is actually a very, very key matchup, my friend.
I think I can speak for both of us in saying that this Browns team is the best Browns team we've ever seen. This team, this team is fun to watch, dude. That last week's performance against the Titans, that offensive performance was fantastic. And I didn't think I'd ever be saying this at the beginning of the season. I think the Browns are better than the Ravens. I really do. I really do. From how they're performing right now and how they look right now, I would consider them better than the Ravens, because the Ravens, don't look great. I'm gonna take the Browns. Probably the first time ever I picked the Browns over the Ravens. I'm gonna do it this week.
Yeah, very interesting, because the Browns got blown out with Odell in week 1 with these, Ravens in the same, back in week 1. But that was week 1. Right now, the Browns have a lot of momentum on their shoulders, and they are looking really, 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 really good.
Yeah, they are. And, dude, I love it. I love it so much.
But I don't think the Ravens have my trust yet, just by running all over the Cowboys. I mean, the Browns ran all over the Cowboys, too, once upon a time, But I'm gonna go ahead and this is such a tough pick, because the Ravens are starting to get healthier. I'm gonna go with you and go with the Cleveland Browns, because why not? The Cleveland Browns are such a great story this year. They are awesome. They have been fun to watch, and yeah, go Brownies.
Yeah.
Rock my jersey number for that win column.
10.
Yes, sir. All right, let's get into a little bit of Week 15 while we can. Chargers Raiders. This is a Thursday night matchup.
I like this matchup. As bad as it is, I kind of like it. I'm going to pick the Raiders, though. I think this will depend on how they play against the Colts, but I'm still going to take the Raiders no matter what the final of that game is. I think they're better than the Chargers, but who knows? I could see Justin Herbert making a few plays and coming out on top, but I don't know. I see the Raiders taking this one.
Yeah, big plays are definitely going to be a big factor in this one, especially with Josh Jacobs back for the Raiders. Yeah, I'm going to pick the Raiders too. The Raiders just need it. They need it.
Yeah,
they just need it. A couple of Saturday games too, which is usual for this time of year in the NFL. The Bills and the Broncos. This is actually a more intriguing matchup with Josh Allen versus that Broncos defense. That could be a very good matchup.
Yeah, not bad at all. I'm gonna take the Bills, and I don't think it's gonna be close. As much as it would be cool to see it being close, I don't see it being close.
I mean, I see them sleepwalking a little bit because it's Denver.
Yeah,
and Denver does put up good fights.
Yeah,
but I think the Bills will go ahead and take this one and bolster their record. Keep trying to chase the Steelers for that 2 seed, or the Chiefs, I should say, or either or. Just chase the 2 seed. I can say the same thing about this Panthers-Packers game, although the Packers are at home this time.
Yeah, I mean, I could see the same thing as well. As much as I'd like the Panthers, to come away with this upset, I don't see it happening. I think the Packers are going to take this one quite easily, as much as, the Panthers have the slightest of chances.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and take the Packers too, unfortunately. Sad to say, but got to be at least a little bit realistic. Real quick, I want to talk about some college basketball. because there have been a lot of things that have happened. A lot of postponements, of course, but a couple of upsets too.
If you're about to talk about Kentucky, that's not an upset. They're terrible.
No.
They're terrible. Any loss that they have, it's not an upset because they're just not good. I needed to get that off my chest. Kentucky's not good. Overrated.
Oh my goodness.
There have been a few upsets though, and I wouldn't say it's that surprising. I mean, we saw Illinois lose. I mean, I really think Illinois was rated a little bit too high. I think they were overrated as well. I don't know. I think this year is going to be, again, full of upsets, as you mentioned in the other week's trivia question.
Yeah, that's going to be. I just don't know who's a legit contender right now.
Yeah,
because Baylor can't stay healthy. Gonzaga, I haven't seen enough from them. I mean, even though they're ranked number one, I really don't know. I guess the best team is Iowa. Because Luka Garza and that team.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I have no idea at this point. I mean, buzzer beaters and stuff. It's just
this is just college basketball. This happens every year. This is just college basketball is insane.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I'm stoked. I'm stoked. I can't wait for conference season to start. I can't wait.
I think we could see some really weird teams hop into the top 25. I mean, we've already seen Richmond in the top 20. Richmond. The Spiders.
I mean, St. Louis is knocking on the door.
Yeah.
A lot of Washington State is knocking on the door. SMU knocking on the door. This college basketball season is starting to get a little weird.
Yeah.
Starting to get a little weird. Hey, NBA is back. You got first impressions about your French Revolution?
I mean, Killian Hayes, he had 6 turnovers in his debut, which is not bad. I think he was just trying to do too much. The Pistons, for the most part, I mean, to be fair, the Pistons in total made 17 moves over the offseason, so I was not expecting much. Obviously, the chemistry is going to be a little bit off. Nonetheless, I really like what I've seen from Blake Griffin. Dude is healthy, and it's fantastic to see. Last year, he only played like 13 games and then was out for the rest of the season. It's almost been a year since he's played, a full year, and it's really good to see Blake Griffin back. I really like what I've seen. It's funny. I meant to say this a few weeks ago, but you know how the Pistons they stole the Nuggets front court. Let's talk about the Cleveland Cavaliers and how they stole the Pistons front court. They have Thon Maker and Andre Drummond in their rotation.
That's hilarious, dude.
Bro, and Thon Maker, he's playing good minutes. He's playing productive minutes down the stretch. I think everyone goes through that phase, though, where everyone's all so high on Thon Maker, and then as, time goes on, he starts to decel. As much as I like Thon. I like Thon. But, I don't know, everyone goes through the Thon Maker experience.
Yeah, dude, that is absolutely hilarious. I would love to be chilling with the crew right now.
I would too. And that's the team with a nice logo, right? Yeah.
I can't believe you actually freaking called it, man.
Come on. I'm ready. Whatever we predict next, it's gonna be based off of something random, and it's gonna work. You'll see.
Random. Oh my gosh. At least they didn't blow a 2-0 lead.
Bro, that was tough to watch. In the final 3 minutes, too.
My gosh, dude. Final 30, 20 minutes. I was just like, how is this happening? I was so
Bro, you were very close. You were so close. Imagine we could have had a championship rivalry right there.
Yeah. Something. Oh my gosh, bro. I was so heated.
Yeah, a lot of people were, especially in the West. I don't think many people enjoy watching Seattle succeed.
Yeah, I guess they're starting to become that team with a target on their back. in
Them
the
in
MLS.
Toronto, I guess, right? I really haven't been following the MLS too long to say who's hated, who's not. But I know Toronto and Seattle, both two really, really good teams.
Yeah, I think the LA Galaxy are
Yeah.
probably the most hated franchise just because they've won the most.
Yeah.
I mean, they've won 20% of the league's championships.
Bro, anyone in LA. Anyone in LA.
anyone in LA, Los Angeles. Yeah, dude, that is hilarious. But you did have a trivia question for us, right?
So, yeah, I did, and it's kind of funny because now, we were talking about college basketball, and some of these teams have struggled, but not in the postseason where it matters. So my question was, who had the most Sweet 16 appearances since 1975? Who has the most?
Yeah, this has definitely got to be a blue blood. Duke?
That was a good guess. Think of their rivals.
North Carolina?
Yeah. And I wouldn't say that's too surprising because they've had some historic coaches, historic players every year except these past two. It seems like they're always really, really good. And it was UNC with 29 Sweet 16 appearances since 1975.
Ooh, sheesh. That's a lot of Sweet 16 appearances.
It is.
I mean, tournaments where you win at least 2 games. That's a decent run.
It is.
That's decent. I'm not gonna lie. That's decent. I mean, you think they'll make it 30?
I don't. No, I don't.
Oh my goodness. I mean, hey, you never know. Somebody could step up. Somebody could get the right seatings, the right brackets, and we'll be on the run.
Yeah.
Just unexplainable performances and just. I don't know what's going on with the Blue Bloods outside of Kansas.
Yeah.
I really don't.
I don't even think Kansas is that good either.
Yeah, they've had some close calls too. Creighton should have beat them. They probably should have lost to what was it, North Dakota, South Dakota State.
Yeah.
So, oh my God, Kansas definitely has had some close calls, and they should have lost to Kentucky too.
They should have, yeah. They were down big and then came back, but from what we've seen from Kentucky,
yeah, that's probably what should have happened. But I have a trivia question about the MLS. First time that's ever happened.
like it.
Yeah, I like it too. So the Seattle Sounders were the reigning defending MLS Cup champions, and they lost on the road to lose the MLS Cup. When was the last time that happened when the reigning MLS Cup champion goes on the road on the MLS Cup and loses?
So the MLS has only been around since the 90s, so I have a good portion plate in front of me, all right? I'm going to guess 2004. Why? No idea.
Because 2004 seems like an ancient time in sports where it's just legendary.
Yeah, 16 years ago. 16, no.
Yeah, that wasn't a bad year of sports.
No,
it
it
really
wasn't. Detroit basketball.
Oh, bro. Yeah, I know you were high on that. This Detroit basketball as a whole, the Pistons and the Shock.
Yeah.
Bring the Shock back, man. Oh, what jerseys they had. Oh my gosh, just awesome, bro. Last thing, man. Let's get into our MVPs and our LVPs. Who is your MVP?
Mine. I think this player will be seeing multiple of these awards, not just on top of the standings, but also in real life. Luka Garza has played fantastic for Iowa. He's almost averaging. He is averaging 30 points per game, which is absurd. Absurd. I mean, let me just read you his stat sheet over these past 5 games. 34 points, 16 points, but he had 14 rebounds. So, dude can do it on both ends, or both sides of the game as well. 35 points, 41 points, 26 points. This dude is going to win the Wooden Award this year.
Oh wow, I'm booking it.
He could have last year as well.
Yeah, I mean, dude is. I mean, they said he was really good last year. What is he this year? He's looking like,
Even better.
yeah. Draft stock is definitely taking a bump up.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, this is good stuff. I like to see big men in the post getting points and getting boards, man. That's good gritty basketball.
Yeah, old school.
Such an underrated portion of today's game.
Yeah, 100%.
Everybody just thinks about 3-pointers. Just no, there's so much more to the game than just the threes and the scoring. There's so much more to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like Luka Garza. That dude can ball. But speaking of basketball, I want to talk about my MVP in the Fort Hays State Tigers.
Who?
So, the Fort Hays State Tigers, who are a Division II basketball team. And I know what you're thinking. Why are you bringing up a Division II basketball team? Well, that's because they beat a Power 5 Division I basketball team in Kansas State. Dude, what an embarrassing loss for Kansas State, but what a win for those Tigers. It's a good weekend to be a Tiger.
It sure is.
Really good weekend. I should have saw that coming. But yeah, that was an absolutely monumental win for the Fort Hays State Tigers. As soon as I saw that they were a D2 school, I'm looking at the school. I'm thinking they're D1 or something. Just lower tier D1. I'm like, Fort Hays State. I don't think I've ever heard of that before, but I feel like they're a Division II school. I was so shook. That is absolutely embarrassing. They went out there and they buried. It wasn't even like they won on a buzzer beater like Stephen F. Austin did to Duke last. No, it was wire to wire. Wasn't all that close. They won decisively against Kansas State. I don't know if I want to watch Kansas State this year because that might get ugly the way that the Kansas State D2 team.
Dude, it might get ugly again. We saw it. It was ugly last year.
I forgot about the fight. Oh my gosh. Yeah, Kansas State, they're gonna have to really, really hop in their bag because this is not good.
Oh.
This is not good. Yeah. All right, let's get to our LVPs. Who's your LVP?
My LVP is Carson Wentz and the Eagles. Just because I don't know how you can sign Carson Wentz to a 4-year, $128 million contract extension and have him be benched and perform as low as he has this year. He's been terrible, one of the worst QBs in the NFL this year. And his annual salary is $32 million, and he's paid number 8 among highest among quarterbacks, which is terrible. They wasted all that money on a player who they're benching. So, yeah, good luck, Eagles. You made a terrible decision.
Thank God the Bears didn't extend the Trubisky.
Watch you get a notification today. Say, Bears extension breaking.
Fire everybody. Fire the GM. Fire the president. Fire the owner. Yeah, I'm going that far.
Sell the team.
Yeah, although that's probably not possible to fire the owner because the owner owns. But yeah, some things have got to change. Don't be afraid to draft a black quarterback for crying out loud. I mean, just reach out, do something because you had 2 black QBs that you could have drafted that could have absolutely lifted you. We could have been Super Bowl winners, but nope, just nope. We suck. We suck at drafts, and they showed the 2017 draft flashback in the Texans Bears preview. They showed how Deshaun Watson was drafted 12th and Mitchell Trubisky 2nd. I'm just like, this man was picked 10 picks above Deshaun Watson for what? For what, son?
Unfortunate.
Whatever. Well deserved, but yeah, Carson Wentz well deserving of that LVP. Got benched for Jalen Hurts. You got benched for a rookie. They just drafted in the 2nd round, just like 8 months ago. That's tough, bro. How could you lose like that? That's so tough. I don't know. Maybe it was the ACL tear that's down in Carson Wentz because he's
not just that. He every single year he seemed injury prone. This year is the first year he hasn't, and he's played terrible.
Yeah, it's sad to see. I'm sorry to say Philadelphia, but he's a bust. He's a bust. Just like Mitchell Trubisky, bust. All right, now for my LVP. And I got to give it to Marco Wilson of the Florida Gators. Freaking tackled a dude on it's 4th down. Buddy takes LSU player's shoes off and yeets it down the field. What? That is probably the downright dumbest penalty I have ever seen in my life. Dumbest and the most costly.
Yeah, definitely not smart whatsoever. It's similar to like taking your helmet off in the field of play on purpose.
Yeah, that was absolutely just head scratching. That was terrible. That was just terrible. But yeah, dude, we definitely did talk about it a lot today. I mean,
yeah,
a lot of football.
Got into multiple leagues.
Yeah, yeah, that was. I mean, there was a lot that happened. I mean, how could we not get into them?
Yeah, we bring the fans all the sports. This is what this podcast is about. Sports.
Yeah, I mean, obviously football is leading the charge because it's winter time, but you know, this is starting to get insane, dude. This is starting to get real juicy. I'm liking it.
Yeah.
I'm liking it.
So, I mean, same time next week?
Oh yeah, definitely. You know it. If you guys enjoyed, obviously give us a like, comment, and a subscribe on YouTube. If you're listening on Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, or any other streaming device that you're listening to this podcast on, give us that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-star rating. And obviously follow us on all of our social media platforms on Twitter, Instagram, and obviously we all do this every week. We do this every week, man. Andrew Hale, Jotham Israel, Top of the Standings, episode 19 in the books. See you next week for 20. Peace.